What's going on, YouTube? This is Luke with Endless Entrepreneurs, just coming to you guys with another video here. I've had a lot of viewers ask this question about kind of the pros and cons to start or running an eBay business and working full-time, how to balance it, how to juggle it. If you're new to my channel, I am a full-time corporate finance analyst. I am a part-time eBay seller. I specialize primarily in men's clothing. Do a little bit of shoes. I've been starting to branch into women's clothing, and I've been building my business in my spare time for quite a few years now, very seriously for the last year and a half. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. I appreciate you guys stopping in. If you're watching this later, recorded, hopefully this will add some value. I'm going to go kind of with a standard format here just because I like to give a lot of value up front. I also have a new toy here with this tripod, so I'm not really sure what the best angle is going to be here. I guess that's probably better. I'm kind of experimenting with this tripod. Sorry about that. I guess that's really bright. That's not too bad. You can see behind me a couple death piles I've been working through. But yeah, I picked this tripod up mostly for our reseller meetup we have coming up this weekend. Really excited about that. Get to meet a bunch of you guys, and I wanted to have some stability with the camera. I keep shaking it. Sorry guys. It's kind of funny to say stability. But the format I'm going to go is I'm going to talk about the pros first, and then I'm going to talk about the cons, and then I'm going to talk about what I've learned. And that's kind of the format I'm going to stick to for this video. And then we'll do a ton of Q&A at the end because I feel like this is a great conversation to have. And I want to kind of give the caveat that I'm not an expert at this. I'm by no means saying this is like the absolute. What I'm saying is this is what I've experienced over a decent period of time, and spending a significant amount of time building my business, as well as having a fairly busy career in the finance world. So hopefully I'll be able to add some value, kind of give some tips and tricks, kind of tell you what I think is good and bad about it, and just hopefully it'll be helpful. And then we'll have some good conversation at the end. So I am going to jump right in. Unless I've got 28 people watching live, let me get the chat up behind me here. With this new setup, I can actually have the laptop up so I can see what's going on, which is cool. And all right, cool. I think we're good to go there then. All right, so for me, I'm going to start with pros because I think I'm very pro this anyways. I'm very for I think it's a safe approach if you want to get into entrepreneurship or eBay or reselling or anything. I think that keeping your full-time job, working to build on the side, I'm a big proponent of. So I just want to put that out there. That's just my personal view. I think that no matter the situation you're in, it just makes financial sense to be able to grow quicker. I think that the pro of it is that you can reinvest. Here's the first pro. You can reinvest all of the earnings, so all of your profit that you make as you're starting out, back into the business and snowball the growth. I think that's like one of the it's probably one of the biggest factors of why I've grown to where I've grown to, is I have just completely reinvested everything, whether it be in equipment, storage, more inventory, whatever it is to scale, or even sometimes paying people to do, prep inventory for me, all these things. I just made that bulk buy. I wouldn't have been able to do that had I not been putting 100% of my capital for my business right back into it. And the only reason I can do that is because my full-time job, I already was living off of that money. So I already knew how to have my lifestyle fit the salary that I had. And so because of that, it was easy to just keep that stuff separate. I didn't need it. I didn't rely on it. And I think the slippery slope becomes when you start to rely on your eBay money, it takes away from the growth and the speed that you can grow your business, because you're always pulling a little bit out. And instead of maybe buying that 500 lot piece that came, bulk purchase that came across your way, someone gave you opportunity, you have to pass because you need to pull a little bit out. Or when you're at the thrift store and your cart's stacked, 40 items high, but it's going to really stretch you, and you put some of the in between items back and just keep the home runs, you're losing out on snowballing your inventory there. So I think that's the first biggest pro for me, is that you get to reinvest and you get to grow faster because of it. The second one, which is kind of similar along that path, is that you can be a big risk taker. And what I mean by that is you can take shots at learning things. Like I took a shot, I outlaid $3,500 to buy 3,000 pair of LL Bean pants. I never would have done that if I was full-time, I don't think, because that's a big chunk of capital that I would have. That's kind of that security blanket. Even if it's in my savings, it's still a security blanket for bills and everything else. But for me, I had it sitting there from snowballing all my money back in my business. I can just take the shot, right? I can grab those 3,000 pair and just see, am I any good at bulk buying? Am I good at processing it? I can learn about it. I can start to network. And because I have the stability of my full-time job, I'm able to take that shot. So that's the second pro that I think is a big one. The other one is that I still think it's very flexible. Like, you can, and what I mean by that, I guess, is you can figure out if you like reselling and if you like eBay for a decent chunk of time before making the plunge to that's your only thing you have going, right? Like, I've been doing this for 3.5, 4 years selling clothing, going very hard. I mean, 40 hours a week of working on my business for since basically last September. That's how much I spend on my business in my spare time. And I still love it. And so knowing that I can go through a large sample of time like that and still enjoy it gives me tremendous confidence that if I ever needed to make this switch, or I ever got to a point where I wanted to, I know that I still love it. Because and it's just a personal insecurity, I think, is that I would hate to make the plunge in something and be stuck and not be able to leave it and not like it. That terrifies me. And I think that's also on the opposite side why some people don't want to get into that 9 to 5 because they feel like they're stuck. Christmas lighting, yeah, that's the lighting question. So that's downstairs. We have a loft up here. That's where I do most of my work. And then we got a fan up here, but I just have my lighting kit back there lit, so I just don't want to give you that as a reflection. I'm sorry. We can do that as a little better for you guys. So yeah, I think that for me, that's kind of one of the those 3 tips right there. Like, I think that's why I would recommend to anyone, especially if you're just trying eBay, do it for a while part-time. It doesn't hurt to do it for a while part-time. It doesn't hurt to figure it out and kind of sacrifice some of those other things to get it done. So that's kind of my pros. I'll kind of shift to the cons because there are definitely cons. So the other con to it is you have to give stuff up to have growth in your business. So one of the first things I had to give up when I started really going hard at this was I couldn't do as many fun social activities as I want. Like, I used to be a big show watcher. Like that, I'll admit it. That's like one of my guilty things. I used to watch every show there was. Breaking Bad. I used to watch Game of Thrones. I still watch Game of Thrones. I can't say I haven't given that one up. True Blood. Just any of the ones that you could binge watch, I binge watch. Friday Night Lights. Any of those. House of Cards. And one of the first things that I had to give up when I started to really commit to growing my business was that time. Because those 2 hours a night or 3 hours a night or 4 hours a night or morning or whatever it was, I needed that to be sourcing, to be listing, to things like that. And yes, to a point you can multitask, but I also found that as I multitasked and tried to incorporate both, my productivity just went down. Like, it just tanked rather than having that focused time on it. So, one of the big cons is just that opportunity cost of the fun things that you get to do. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, you got to give all that stuff up, because I think it's different for everyone. Like, everyone wants something different. Everyone has a different balance to their life. Everyone has stuff that makes them happy that's different. So you have to just know up front that if you're going to do both and you want to be successful at it, then you're going to have to give up some things along the way. So hopefully that makes sense, definitely as a con. I'm just going to try to check the chat out here. Hi, guys. Make sure I'm not missing anything. So that's con number 1. Con number 2 is time constraints. So as flexible as it is, it's still, because you're not full-time, like being at my job 9 to 5, I can't go to any thrift stores during that time, which means that I have to either go during my lunch break, or I have to hit a ton on the weekends, or I have to work around my 9 to 5 to source. And that's a big time constraint, right? Like, my schedule is dictated around my 9 to 5, and then is furthermore dictated around my eBay business, which can be, it's definitely, it takes away from what you're doing. And again, you're giving up those other things. Your sunny Saturday where you could be at the pool, and you're outsourcing, hitting 4 stores because you need inventory for all week so you can list it because you can't source during the week. Or, things like that where the time constraints really get there. Another thing, like shipping, right? You still have to ship every day. So whether you're tired, home from work, you don't have a lot of time, if you have 1 day handling or 2, you have to ship. You don't have a choice. You have to do it. You might have to stay up later to do it. So I think the time constraints that it creates can definitely strain, relationships you have. I don't know if you have a family, if you have kids, things like that. It definitely can, pull in both directions and be tough. And so, that's definitely a con. And, I've been working on that a ton. Thank goodness Shannon's probably the most patient person I know. She's so supportive of what I do. And so that's been super helpful. She's also extremely blunt. So she kind of levels me out. And if I get too intense or I get kind of off that path, she'll just yell at me and tell me what's up. And I just know. So, I'm thankful that I have that balance, because without it, I don't know how extreme I would be. It'd probably be an unhealthy level. So, definitely having that balance with those time constraints is important, having an understanding. And that was kind of my third con, was balance. Like, I think that it becomes a very tough thing to keep balance, and you have to constantly be working on it, over communicating with whoever it is in your life, whether it's your significant other, your family, your kids, whatever. You have to continually communicate with them on expectations and plan out things ahead, and make sure you're still getting your eBay stuff done, making sure you're still your 9-to-5 stuff done. And then actually there's kind of a fourth con, which I struggle with a bit, and that is changing your mindset as you change roles. So like, I struggle a bit within the morning, right? I'm going hard on eBay for 3 hours in the morning. I'm doing a YouTube video, I'm listing 15 items, I'm sometimes shipping, whatever. You're in that mindset, and then I have to shift. I go to work and I have to completely shut off and focus on work, because I can't just coast. Like, I don't have a job where I can coast that much. I mean, there's some downtime, but there's a lot of stuff to be done, and I have to focus on it. It's a lot of problem solving. So that's hard for me, changing hats sometimes. I struggle with that, and I don't want to be that person who doesn't earn what I'm being paid at work. Like, I have just like a weird thing about that. I want to make sure I'm outputting value that they're paying me for. So like, that's definitely a struggle, and I would say a con is being able to shift hats and mindsets. I struggle with that personally, I know. So those are kind of the pros and cons. I'm gonna say what I've learned, which is I've learned a ton, first of all. So I've learned a ton. The first is that you can do way more in your spare time than you think. And this is just something I've grown to learn as I've stretched myself every month, every week that's gone by, every 6 months, every quarter. I've reestablished goals, and I've gotten more disciplined, and I've said no more, and I've given up a little things that just don't matter, and devoted that to my business. I found that I can accomplish so much more than I ever thought. Like, if you told me I was going to have almost 2,000, I'll probably have 2,000 by the middle of July, 2,000 active items on inventory, active listings. I have about 3,000 or 3,500 actual items because of the bulk. If you told me I was going to have that, be working a 9-to-5 job, which is more like a 45, 50-hour a week job, doing that, doing eBay, and doing YouTube a year ago, I would have said you're crazy. Like, I would not have believed you for one bit. Night, Deborah. Thanks for stopping in. But yeah, like, I wouldn't have believed you. And I think that a lot of times I have gotten discouraged and not thought I could balance it. And it was like, when you refocus and you start decluttering your day, decluttering your week and the things that are in your way, you all of a sudden have these big things of time, and you're like, you kind of reset and mentally recharge, and you start getting more things done. And I would encourage everyone to stretch those limits. If it's something you really want to do and you really want to build your business and you want to see if you have what it takes, whether that's full-time, whatever, I think that you can, over a long period of time, and when I say long period of time, I don't mean 3 months. I mean like a year and a half, 2 years. Like, you can do both. I mean, like I said, I've been doing it for 3.5, 4 years, and I would say really hard. I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I say about 40 hours a week since last August of my eBay business, and then on top of my normal job. Like, you can do it if you're willing to wake up early, if you're willing to give up some stuff. And so I think I would encourage anyone who wants to take the shot to do both, not to give up that solid income yet, because it's the security of that makes you a smarter entrepreneur and makes you more savvy and just more of a risk taker and willing to learn faster and grow, and it's motivating and it's comforting all at the same time. So, and then like kind of one of the other things I learned is you need to decide what it is that you want out of your business. And I think this is really, really important, because it's not everyone's goal to go full time. It's not everyone's goal to make $5,000 a month. It could just be your goal to make $500 a month extra, right? And that's perfectly fine. Maybe you just want to spend 1 day a week thrifting, list a couple items throughout the week, and have some extra cash come in to pay your car payment or something like that. And so I think it's super important before you start your business, set your expectation of what you actually want and align the time you allocate to it, right? Because the next thing that I've learned is that if you don't allocate a specific amount of time every single week consistently and carve that out for your business will stagnate. Like, it will go the other direction, and other things will creep in, especially like, and someone just brought up the summer slowdown, right? Like, summer months are slow. It can be very unmotivating. You're putting in all this work and you're not seeing the results. And you just have to stay consistent to that 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 hours you're going to use every week. You have to commit to it. And that's why I think it's so important ahead of time. Like, decide what it is you want out of your business. If you want to go full time, then you got to give up a ton of stuff. And I don't even know, because I haven't personally gone full time, but I feel like I'm getting closer to the volume where if I ever wanted to, I could take the shot. But it's like, you got to work to get there, and you got to be willing to give up stuff along the way. And if you don't, then no problem. Like, if you just want to make part-time income, you like your job and you're still enjoying both, and you just want to have extra money, maybe you want to make an extra $1,000, a month, and you want to invest it in real estate or invest it in a different hobby or whatever, like, or just pay for a vacation. Like, that's totally good too, but just allot the time in your week to do that, right? It might only be 2 hours. So, that was one of the biggest thing I learned was, along the way, my expectations have changed, right? Like, I was totally fine with just $1,000 a month. Like, to me, that was great. I was paying extra things off. And then I got to the point where I got interested in real estate. And so it was like, okay, well, eBay is going to be my way to fund all of my real estate portfolio, because that's something I'm really passionate about. And, the house we're in now, I've mentioned in a couple other videos, it's a townhouse I bought and we bought, and it's going to be our first rental. So when we move out, this will be our first rental. And eBay is funding things like that. So, your expectations matter so much to what effort you apply and execute against it, and what you have to give up to get there. So, kind of soapbox a little bit right now, but a lot of people have asked this. Like, the reason I'm doing this video, I've had a ton of viewers ask me, direct message me, ask me to talk about it. And sorry that Casey's live. I know people can rewatch this later. Hopefully, if you want to go watch Casey, totally fine. You can rewatch mine later. But like, I just feel like it's an important topic, because I feel like I see a lot of people rush to go full time, and once you go, there's no going back right away, right? Like, once you make that leap, you're all in on it, and you got to be, you got to be all in on it. So I caution people, like, make sure you have the right understanding, expectation, and desire to do that for a long period of time. And a lot of people do. A lot of my friends right now in the reselling community go full time, and they're loving every second of it, and I love that for them. So this is not me discouraging that. A lot of people have asked, how do you balance it? What's your expectations? And this is my honest answer to it. And hopefully it's helpful to some people, just, with those tips and the cons and, things that I've learned. So hopefully that's helpful. I'm going to switch over to some Q&A now. I see a lot of people starting to comment here. So we got Sherry said, I feel like I needed this little pep talk to refocus. Well, I'm glad that helped. And look over here. So Clean Claire said, I want to go full time and will, but right now have a semi full-time job. Yeah. And that's okay, right? Like, that's totally okay. The other thing that I would encourage is have a dollar amount in mind in the bank that you want saved before you go full time. Have that safety net so that as you switch, you still are courageous enough to take risks and to grow and to scale. I think that's important. And you also have to understand, and you have to decide in your mind, if you do want to go full time, do you want to replace your salary, or do you want to scale and grow a business? Because those are two different things, right? If you just want to replace your salary, it might be much more achievable than if you want to scale it to, hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Those require different things. And that's another thing. Like I said, establishing expectations for your business. The clothesline said, I realize the more I list, the more items I sell, so I list daily. I'm thinking eBay recognizes a seller who lists daily. Yes, absolutely. I can't express more that listing consistently leads to more sales, just period. Fresh items do. Alicia, I will add a link to my lighting kit. I always put them at the end of my videos. In my description, I have links. Amazon affiliate links are down. It's this exact umbrella kit. It's pretty cheap. I use it. I have two of them, actually. I have one in the garage and one's here. So I will link that up. This is live from my phone, so I can't put it in the description yet, but as soon as it's over, I will add it for you, Alicia. Did you ever get a business license right away, or did you wait a bit? I don't have a resale license. You don't actually need one to do this, not in the state I'm in anyways. I do, have state sales and use tax and things like that, that I'm registered for, but I don't have a resale license yet. If I get into buying from wholesalers and like bigger things like that, I'm gonna have to get it. I don't have a choice, but I don't have that right now. And let me see what else we got here. Krillin said, Luke, when do you have any time for yourself? That's a great question. So I just got back from a basketball game. It's funny we said that. So I'm in a basketball league every Thursday night, and I'm in a softball league every Tuesday night that I play with Shannon. We do one date night every week. It's like our non-negotiable. I just spent 10 days on vacation. How I carve out time and kind of hack that, Krillin, is I wake up early. I get all my vital behaviors done before I go to work. All my listings are done that I want for the day. My shipping's done. All that stuff's done. So that no matter how my day goes, if I need to spend time with Shannon or I need to react or do whatever, I can do that. So that's, hopefully that answers the question, Krillin. I also love my business. Like, my business is my hobby. So, let me see what we got. Yeah, Krillin, I mean, that's a different, I don't want to dive into that topic right now on this video, but yeah, we can talk offline about that. Let's see. Someone just asked where I'm at with reaching my 100K goal. So I'm technically behind pace. I'll probably finish at like 33,000 through 2 quarters. But I'm expecting pretty enormous ramp up. I mean, I'm already starting to see it pick back up now. And I think that once I have a feeling that I'm going to get there. That's all I'm going to say. I am behind, though. I'm fully transparent. I'm behind. I expect to be behind. I didn't think I'd be this far behind. I thought I'd be at like 40K. I thought I'd be about 10,000 behind, so I'm a little further behind than I thought, like on pace-wise. But I still think I'm going to get there, and I'm not giving up on it at all. So DJ asks, how do you handle returns when you offer free shipping? Do you do full return or partial? It depends. I mean, if I think there's an ability to offer a partial return and they'll accept, I'll offer the partial return. I don't argue with buyers. Occasionally, if I think they're just trying to find a loophole and it's a cheap item, I will make them return it. I'll just, out of spite, I'm like, whatever, I'll pay for it even if you say I'm not described. That's just my little way of getting back at them, kind of, I guess. But for the most part, I just accept and move on. They're part of doing business. I've still stayed well under 3% returns, so it just doesn't impact my business enough to worry about it too much. Thrifty and NC said, I enjoy reselling 100% more than my 9-to-5 job, but got to be smart and not leave the full-time job. We have to think about the big picture. Yeah, absolutely. Being smart and laying that foundation is really important. And the thing is the less people you have that rely on you, the more chances you can take, of course, right? So, that kind of comes and goes with that. The other thing that I'll say about when you say you love reselling, this is the other thing I'll say. If you ever get the opportunity to take a full week off, make yourself operate as if you're a full-time reseller. So source like you would plan if you're full-time. Do everything you said you would for a week and see if you still love it just as much. Because there's a whole different level to fitting in when you can and loving it because it's a break from everything else versus that's all you did for the entire week. So I just think that's a really important distinction to make, that if you ever get that opportunity, try it. And I've done it twice now. I've done it for like a 7-day stint and a 9-day stint, and I've loved every second of it. But I just wanted to know for myself if I ever had to, like if anything went wrong with my job or whatever and I had to, like I would still like it. So I just think that's important. Reseller Niche Podcast said I'll be part-time forever, I think. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The clothesline said that's what I'm doing the next 5 days. I have 5 days off, so I'm going to source lists full-time in that span. That's awesome. Great. You get a lot of momentum going, a lot of positive momentum for your business for sure. Do we have any full-time sellers in the chat right now? Just curious. Anyone who wants to lay in on that a little bit? Marshall said, I try to do that on the weekends, but get lazy from a full week on the job. Yeah, and that's tough, guys. Like, especially, like, I don't have a physically demanding job, so if anyone has a physically demanding job, I can't imagine trying to balance both. I have a lot of respect for that. Sharon said full-time, very cool. Jose's full-time, awesome. So how long have you guys been full-time, if you don't mind sharing in the chat? I'm just curious. And, like, are you still loving it just as much as before? I always love to hear that. Retired graphic designer. Very cool. Does that skill set come in handy for you at all? Alicia's full-time. Awesome. Daisy's is full-time and a mom. Well, that's even more impressive. That's awesome. So 1 year full-time for Organically. Hannah. Sharon started in February and loves it. In design school. Oh, cool. And Daisy said kids are in school half days. So that's great. So you get to work on it the other times. That's awesome. Alicia said 5 years. That's amazing. Great job. Here's my clap and applaud for you guys full time. I have much respect for that. I've been chatting with Chris from 10K on the Bay quite a bit since he's went full time, and just picking his brain. And I love to talk to people who are there and just see how they're doing, how's the transition, and he's loving it. So it's good to hear. Very cool. Well, I'll take a couple more questions, guys. I want to wrap up here. I got to ship like 4 things, then I got to get some sleep. Got one more day, and then we kind of got like a pseudo 4-day weekend with 4th of July on Tuesday. So going to get lots of eBay stuff done. We have the reselling meetup on Saturday. So if anyone's in the area and wants to come, we're going to start at 9 a.m. We're going to hit 2 or 3 thrift stores, then grab lunch at Whole Foods, then maybe hit a couple more depending on how people are holding up. Should be an awesome day. Corinne and Jason over on Prof Sales have done an amazing job organizing it. There's going to be some prizes and some other cool stuff. So definitely check it out. Carolina Reseller Meetup Facebook group if you want to come. The Facebook group's just being used for the event. We're not going to use it afterwards. So it's just to kind of plan and do logistics. Evermore said, "Does you looking at eBay fees drive you to drink?" No, I not really. I mean, I think I've only had $1,000 payment to them, so it hasn't been too bad yet. Client said, "Is your storage locker heated and cooled?" No. So I have 2 storage units, 2 10x20s. Neither are temperature controlled. I put all of my stuff. Actually, let me show you. So I put all of my stuff sealed in a poly bag with my inventory label right here. And then it goes into these the plastic bins with tops on them. So they're kind of like double sealed away from the elements. It's worked so well. I've been doing that for 2.5 years now, being down here, or 2 years being down here in North Carolina. So 2 summers, and I haven't had any issues with temperature or anything like that. And also I'll put the link in the video. I have links to those bags and stuff if you have curious or want to use those. They're really cheap. I usually buy them in bulk on Amazon, whatever the highest quantity I can find to get the cheapest price. I have like 10,000 in my garage right now. Clothesline said, "How are you doing on women's clothing? I know you wanted to learn." So I've been studying here and there on some of my breaks at work, and I'm starting to get a little more dangerous with brands, so I'm pretty excited. I plan to, actually at a reselling meetup, I'm going to source a little bit of women's stuff. I don't want to intrude. I'm going to let the men's stuff for all the men's sellers, I don't want to intrude. Yeah, I'm going to start sourcing women's stuff, and each time I hit a store, I'm going to try to find 5 or 10 items just so I can start learning keywords, start to mix that in. I think it's going to open a ton of doors for me. Here we have a lot of really good women's stuff here in Charlotte, and I know from Shannon's experience sourcing, there's just an abundance of it. So really excited about that. I think that's going to open up a lot of possibilities. Thrifty said, "Is it true that you can't bulk edit to increase your list price and then immediately schedule a sale? There's a time period you have to wait before putting a sale on after increasing prices." So Thrifty, the experience I had, I don't know this, I only know my experiences with it. If I have a sale on, I can't cancel the sale without ending the listing. So I'd have to pay new insertion fees to end the listing, change the price, and then start the sale all over again. So you either wait for the sale to expire, then adjust your prices, and then run the sale. That's my only experiences with it so far. If anyone has a way to get around that, please let me know. But as far as I know, you have to let the sale expire. You don't really have a lot of choices with it, so it's a little frustrating. Marshall's saying that women's clothes sell so much better for her. Wow, oh, that's good to know. Yeah, Shannon's done pretty well. I mean, she hasn't listed a lot at all in the last couple months because her job has been absolutely nuts with her new opportunities she's had, and but she's still selling stuff, like even from listing months ago. So it's pretty interesting. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up. If Casey's still live, I encourage everyone to pop over, see his video, see how he's doing. I'm probably going to do the same while I'm taking out these last couple items and shipping them. I will put the description for everyone who's asked about the lighting kit and the other supplies in my video. I'll put them right in the description after this once I end. And I appreciate everyone stopping in. Hopefully this was helpful. I'm sorry it took so long to address the question. I know a lot of people are asking me to address that, but that's how I feel. Strongly in the camp of that you should do both, be part-time and work full-time as long as you can until you get to a really comfortable level for making the plunge. That's just my stance, just from personal experience, but to each their own. So good luck, guys. I hope June just finishes out amazing for you guys. I hope everyone crushes sales tomorrow and that we all have an awesome end to our quarter 2. Check me out on Instagram. Have an awesome night, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Oops.